What's up, fight fans? Welcome to my channel. This is Johnny, and in today's video, we're gonna be going over the current landscape at 154 pounds. Guys, before I continue, I wanna say thank you to all the new subscribers. Thank you to everybody who's been with me since day one. I also wanna ask you, if you haven't hit the notification button yet, could you please do that? If you like the content that I create, every time I put out a new video, it'll pop up in your algorithm. Thanks. Guys, we've had back-to-back weekends with huge fights at 154 pounds. If you'd asked me 12 months ago, Johnny, is 154 pounds your favorite division? I would have quickly said no, but how fast things could change in our favorite sport of boxing. We know Riyadh season took place a few weeks back in Los Angeles, headlined with a title fight at 154 pounds between Madrimov and Bud Crawford. We know Bud left victorious as the new WBA world champion at 54. And just this past weekend, we had an interim title fight at 154 for the WBC interim belt between Virgil Ortiz and the belt holder at the time, Serhiy Bohacek. We know Ortiz won a very close decision over Bohacek. And in this video, I want to talk about the modern landscape. I want to go over a few prospects, a few contenders. There's some former champions, and we'll talk about the champions and where do they go from here. Also, stay tuned to the end of the video because, like always on my channel, I need interaction. I need your help. I'm going to be asking you a few important questions about who do you think these fighters should be facing next. All right, guys, I feel it's important to talk about some prospects. Now, don't get too annoyed if I confuse prospect and contender. There is a difference. I look at prospects as guys who've yet to fight for belts, on their way up. They could be undefeated. Maybe they've beaten former champions, but they still haven't got that big blockbuster victory. And let's start off with Charles Conwell. Guys, Charles Conwell is 20-0 with 15 knockouts. He's currently ranked number 11 in the world at 154 pounds. He carries into the ring a 75% knockout to win ratio. The American is 26 years old, and he's an orthodox fighter standing at 5'9" with a 70-inch reach. He's coming off an impressive knockout victory in the second round against Kyrie Gray. Gray was 18-6. Before that, he knocked out Nathaniel Gallimore, who was 22-7. That was a knockout in the 6th. He beat Juan Abreu 25-6, majority decision in the 10th. Abraham Ramirez was 19-9. He knocked him out in the 3rd. Guys, I've gotten message multiple times in the last month about featuring Charles Conwell. This is the first time we're talking about him on the channel, and I feel what better time than now. Throw his name in the mix at 154 pounds. He's one big fight away from being a household name. If you like an electric style, if you like a guy with a mean attitude into the ring who's going to look to finish his opponents, put Conwell in that category. Now let's take a look at another prospect, Xander Zayas. Xander Zayas is 19-0 with 12 knockouts. He's currently ranked number 14 in the world at 154 pounds. He carries into the ring a 63% knockout to win ratio. The proud Puerto Rican's only 21 years old, and as an orthodox fighter, he stands at 5'10" with a 74-inch reach. He's getting ready to take on Damian Sosa September 27th. Sosa's 25-2. He last fought Patrick Teixeira, who was 34-4, UD in the 10th. Jorge Fortea, 24-3. Xander knocked him out in the 5th. Robert Valenzuela, 25-4, knockout in the 5th. Zayas is another guy that I featured on the channel before, but has a lot of hype. At 21 years old, with a whole nation behind him, Zayas is being picked as the next big thing in boxing. As he grows into his frame and as those fights get bigger, it's only a matter of time that he goes from prospect to contender. And the last prospect I want to look at is Jesus Ramos. He's currently ranked number 10 in the world at 154 pounds. He carries into the ring an 81% knockout to win ratio. Out of his 21 victories, 17 of them are via knockout. The American's only 23 years old, and standing at 5'10" as a southpaw, he has a 72-inch reach. He last fought Ohan Gonzalez, 34-2, knocked him out in the 9th. His only loss is to Erickson Lubin, who's also featured in this video. Lubin was 25-2. Ramos lost the decision in the 12th. He then fought Joseph Spencer, 16-0, knocked him out in the 7th. Luke Santa Maria, 13-2, UD in the 10th. For Ramos, like I said, at 23 years old, knockout artist, his only blemish is a veteran in Lubin, and that loss doesn't look too bad on the resume. Ramos is going to continue to test himself and get big names. It's only a matter of time of who we see him paired up to next. The future is bright for Ramos. Guys, and 54 is stacked with guys who were former champions with huge names. Guys like Jermell Charlo, the aforementioned Erickson Lubin, and I have to bring up Brandon Adams. Brandon Adams is still relevant due to his resume. Adams has a victory over Bohacek, and we know how tough Bohacek is, and Adams knocked him out. Erickson Lubin, on the other hand, has been paired up with guys like Tim Tszyu. We actually thought that fight was going to happen recently, but contracts fell through. And now, since Jermell Charlo has thrown his name back in the mix at 54, a few weeks back, Charlo tweeted out, "I'm back at 54 to reign over my division." Lubin has been going after him to try to get that fight. So only time will tell to see who Charlo matches up with, Erickson Lubin matches up with, and I still feel we haven't heard the last of Brandon Adams. Now let's take a closer look at the champions at 154 pounds. Guys, we know who Bud Crawford is. We know about his legacy. He just fought August 3rd, defeating Madrimov, taking the WBA strap. What's next for Bud? His name has been paired up with Virgil Ortiz. Now, going into the Ortiz title fight this past weekend against Bohacek, His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh got on the microphone and predicted that if Virgil would be victorious against Bohacek, he wanted to create a card with Shakur Stevenson and William Zepeda co-maining, with Bud Crawford and Virgil Ortiz headlining. Will that happen? Ortiz was engaged in a very tough back and forth war against Bohacek. It could have gone either way. Virgil Ortiz left the interim WBC champion. Is that still the fight to make? Bud versus Virgil? I'm asking you. You let me know in the comment section below. We have to look at the other belt holders. The IBF is a very tough and gritty Bakr Murtazaev. He has been linked to Tim Tszyu. Camp Tszyu, Team Tszyu said that that fight is going forward. We haven't heard anything officially at this moment, but as of last week, we saw the contracts being sent out, and hopefully we have an IBF world title fight between Murtazaev and Tszyu. And our other belt holder is Seb Fundora. He beat Tszyu. He has the WBC and WBO. He is clear to fight again later in the month, and his name has been paired up with Errol Spence Jr. I did a post earlier in the week about these top prospects, contenders, and champions, and I only had enough room for 12 people in the photo, and a lot of you guys didn't read my caption. EJ was left off of the photo, but I wrote about him, and I said he is the dark horse. He's the only guy on the list who's yet to take an official fight at 54, but all things considered, it seems like a fight with him and Seb Fundora is on the horizon. We know the champions Crawford, Murtazaev, Fundora, and Virgil is now an interim champion. With all these possible matchups, with the prospects, with the contenders, guys who just fought, this is where I need your help. What fights make most sense? Crawford doesn't have a fight right now. Virgil Ortiz doesn't have a fight right now. Fundora and EJ looks like they're going to fight, and Murtazaev and Tszyu looks like they're going to fight. Who does Jermell Charlo fight next? Is Brandon Adams going to get another big fight? Also, Erickson Lubin has put his name in the mix. Is he a guy that could challenge for a belt? And with the prospects, who is your favorite one? Xander Zayas, Ramos, or Conwell? Leave all that in the comment section below.